Good evening, Boxing Asylum listeners. Steve Wellings here, post-fight pod. We have on the call Dave the Hater Lowback. He's enjoyed what he's just seen. Andy Patterson is here as well. The two Smiths, not Callum and Liam. We've got Adam and Ozzy, and also Gabe Lewis. We've just witnessed Anthony Joshua knocking out Alexander Povetkin in the 7th round. I'm going to give Joshua a bit of credit, to be honest with you, Ozzy. I don't know what you think about it. Busted nose, gas tank looked like it was going a little bit. Povetkin was giving him plenty of issues. A lot of head movement, a lot of experience. And he got the job done. You know, you can't shit on the big lad all the time. I thought he actually did a pretty good job, even though Povetkin's nearly 40. I think he was struggling, and I actually thought at one point Povetkin was going to get him out of there. So fair play to Joshua.
Definitely, completely agree. I thought the finish was superb. He and he's an excellent finisher. We've seen it before, and he hurt Povetkin, who we know is a tough guy. And like I said, the finish and the way he got him out, that was superb. But he had it tough. A few of us said that last week, that we thought he'd struggle. And I think after probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes in the first round, he knew he was in a fight. I mean, I think he's broken his nose. Povetkin landed sometimes the left hook at will. The overhand right as well was a big factor. And it took him a while to settle, to be honest. But I think you've got to give Joshua credit. He'll only learn from this fight. And it's fights that you want him to see it in. And Povetkin gave it his all. I think he boxed like a guy that was probably on like a last chance saloon. I won't be shocked to see him retire now. And moving forward, there's only one fight we want to see next, and that's Anthony Joshua against Deontay Wilder in April.
Smido, you're there. You might as well jump in right now. The big fella's improving. He is learning and improving. I mean, we saw it against Klitschko. We saw him get hurt against Dillian White. He said himself that he thought he probably could have lost this fight a few years ago. But with experience, I think he stayed calm and he stayed cool. And, I have to credit the improvements that he's made. And I think he actually finished the job off really well. He is a clinical finisher.
Yeah, the finish was the only impressive thing that AJ did tonight for me. I think that he lost the first 2 rounds quite clearly. Povetkin was using his 2 weapons very effectively, and AJ couldn't really deal with them. The weapons being the overhand lead right and the left hook up the top. And at the start of the 3rd round, I said to us, AJ doesn't look comfortable here. He wasn't enjoying himself. His left hand was coming low, or it was not a guard at all. We've not seen that from Joshua before. He just looked uncomfortable. He didn't throw his first simple 1-2 until the 4th round. That was the first time he really landed the right hand up top. The only significant punch he landed in the first 3 rounds, Joshua, was, I think, a right hand to the body. He just looked uncomfortable. But like you say, Steve, he did stay calm. You've got to credit him for that. He got through the choppy waters, and he's come out the other end. The stoppage was good, but I think AJ tonight, for me, my overriding feeling, what I need to remember from a betting perspective going forward, is that overall I wasn't impressed, and I was of the opinion previously that the Wilder fight versus AJ was in favour of AJ, but now I think it's the other way. I think Wilder would have done some damage to AJ this evening, and I need to remember that going forward.
Just before we bring Andy in, let's go across the pond. We'll pick you first of all, Gabe. The reason why I said I was impressed with Joshua is because I don't want to keep, against Parker, I thought that he did things wrong. Against Klitschko, he definitely did things wrong. Against Takam, he did things wrong. So I'm loath to keep picking against him, because tonight he could have easily gone the other way, and there are problems there. But is he just going to be one of these guys, Gabe, who just manages to fiddle his way through, improve every fight, and just gets the job done? I don't want to keep picking against him, Gabe.
Well, I mean, I do think he's skilled. I do think he has some things in his favor. Power, his footwork ability is good. I mean, not great. I think there's, like you said, there's definitely some flaws there. But I mean, at some point, you'll have to stop picking against the guy if he continues to win every fight that he's in. I mean, I don't really care for him. I think he's a duck, and I think he needs to fight Wilder, which we'll probably talk about that later on. But, he had a guy that had a lot of experience. Povetkin is a very experienced guy. Whether you like Povetkin or you don't like Povetkin, he's lasted a long time in the heavyweight division, and he's never been badly outclassed. That Klitschko fight, people seem to have forgotten how shit that fight was. Vlad held him the whole fucking time. So, I mean, if you're asking me, I think you do. Yeah, we have to give him some credit for getting the job done here. Povetkin looked the best I've seen him in quite some time. He looked quick, looked sharp.
Looked quite slim, didn't they?
Yeah, he looked like he was built for speed. I think he had a certain game plan going into this fight, and I think it was you could tell it's what he was trying to do because of the way his body looked. Like his body was slimmer, and he was much quicker. Just all around. He in some of his previous fights, he just kind of lumbered around. It was almost like his body. Well, obviously, if you keep tabs of the drug situation with him, his body wasn't really made to carry all that weight that he had on there. And so without that and without all that extra mass to him, he looked much quicker, looked good, looked sharp. I wouldn't mind seeing him again. I still think he's got some good fights left in him. Probably not a whole lot more, but a couple of years left. I think he looks good. But so, I think you have to give Joshua credit on this one. I mean, he's done what he has to do to win so far. He didn't look spectacular tonight. I think if he wouldn't have had that right hit right when it did, I think things could have gone bad for him. It felt like one of those fights where at any point somebody's about to land something good, and the first person to do that's going to be the winner. And I think that's what we saw happen. I think if Povetkin would have landed a killer left hook on him, it could have went completely the opposite way in the same round. They both were having moments of success, and AJ just got to him first, so fair play.
Yeah, functional performance from AJ, I think, Andy. Povetkin was excellent, really impressed with him as well. He really bought it and made a fight out of it. Maybe he doesn't need the juice after all. Maybe someone should tell him. A bit of Novichok on the gloves, perhaps. Andy, tell me about the finish. Jab to the body, brought the hands down right up above. I know there was a couple of shots behind the head. Our friend Ben was saying, in the finisher, but Povetkin, I tell you what, he showed some beard, Andy.
Yeah, he's always been known to have granite chin, mate. I think it was probably the first right hand that AJ managed to kind of throw. It was fully extended, actually. You could see the damage it done to Povetkin. Literally just basically shook him right up because they took him maybe a few right hands a couple of rounds previously, but they weren't kind of full extended shots. They were like at mid-distance and stuff. But, Povetkin, I did say to you guys that, early doors, it looked like, that was going to be his best chance. And then I think I said to you after like 4 rounds and that's maybe his best chance gone now. He wasn't rolling as much underneath trying to whip in the left hook. He was missing a lot of left hooks as well, and some uppercuts. Povetkin, as Josh was probably kind of like, using maybe his stronger arms and his reach, kind of like maybe just like moving Povetkin to the side as he would then trim off to the side and that as well. His main punch for the night was his jab. He just kind of try and kind of throw it to the body. Just kind of try and measure the distance, and in the end, that's what he did. Just kind of, I suppose, I agree with what Gabe was saying just before the fight. He looks semi off, like he wasn't really fully focused on the fight. But as soon as the bell rang and stuff like that, he thought maybe the broke nose, got stumbled at the end of the first round, and that you think, all right, okay, we've got a fight here. But again, it just goes to show actually as well. This is my only gripe about the fight actually. See, if that fight went a distance, there was absolutely going to be zero chance Povetkin was going to get a fair shake in those cards. Those cards are absolutely fucking shocking. They've got Joshua up in all three, 4-2 on 2 of the cards, and then 5-1 on the other one. That's just absolutely fucking disgraceful.
Inexperienced judges as well, Andy.
I don't care, mate. I don't care. If you're inexperienced in a big world title fight, you should not be fit or you shouldn't even be doing that shit.
That's the point I was making.
Yeah, but remember we spoke about this when we did Punches for the Past, and that we're talking about one of the Foreman fights, and that I think Larry Hazard went back. A fight was Lou Savaris or something like that.
Yep.
He says, if I did it differently, I would have put in more experienced judges and stuff. Well, I was maybe about the Shannon Briggs fight, I can't mind, but it's just these are not the fights you need. You put inexperienced judges into fights like that. Okay, maybe they're going out with the realms and bringing in like neutral judges and stuff like that. But these neutral judges are fucking, they can be bought, they're coming in from places like Venezuela getting put up in fucking 5-star hotels and stuff for first class travel.
Yep, and that's what it is. That's what it is, isn't it? It's the matchroom machine. You're coming over to judge our event. Oh, you know what I mean? Look at fucking Steve. Look at Jimmy McGee with the fucking hunky dories. This shit goes on, baby.
The pace as well.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, no, it's okay. I was just going to say finally the pace I think was slightly getting to Joshua. I think if Povetkin maybe been slightly younger and maybe kept the pace going, it might have been slightly different. But I did think the first 4 rounds he was kind of like fast twitching. He was really having to kind of move, and he was trying to react whenever Povetkin was trying to punch with Povetkin from time to time in that as well. So I just think those first 4 rounds he was kind of feeling it difficult because he had to react, and he had to punch, he had to keep busy because he had to keep Povetkin off him. But in the end, he could have basically no thrown a punch all night and still win the fucking fight on points regardless. But I can't take it away from him. It was a great right hand. It was a great finish. And as you say, if he gets a fighter on the hook, he will basically go in and he'll just take the guy out, and that's what he done. But scorecards are fucking AIDS. We've got to say that again.
Yep. No, there's no disputing that.
AJ must not be staying humble because he did stumble.
I was going to say the same thing. You just beat me to it, you bastard. Right, let's bring you in anyway, Dave. If anybody else wants to come on, then hit me up on Twitter or in the YouTube chat. I was thinking exactly the same as Dave whenever Andy said that as well. If you want to stay.
I had also to add in there before Dave takes off. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Gabe. I forgot about you. Go on.
I think something that I noticed too, part of the reason why he didn't take that punch as well as he has previously, he didn't have that big fucking shock absorber for a neck that he's had before. His traps and his neck weren't as thick as I recall him being previously. I think if you go back and look at some of his other fights, that whole muscles on his traps and his neck were a lot bigger. And so I was wondering if that was happening. If he got hit, because I thought you could see it in there. It looked like it.
Yeah, but didn't they say? Don't they say that HGH makes your head fucking grow? And he had a big giant head when he knocked out Mike Perez, didn't he?
Gabe, you are aware that we're talking about Povetkin here, right? A guy who's been done for roids numerous times.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I'm saying, though. I think, I was wondering how he was going to take a shot whenever I saw how what I thought he looked a little bit smaller in that area of his body. The rest of his body didn't look so bad. I mean, I thought he physically looked okay, and he was, slimmer and wasn't carrying as much bulk. So you could tell it didn't being much quicker, but like I said, that area of his body seems like it helps you take a punch a little bit more if you've got some solid muscle that can absorb some of that impact. And I don't think he had as much there.
Right, hey, Dave, you're in the house, the official voice of American boxing, unofficial licensee of DAZN. I don't know if you're listening to DAZN tonight or not. Dave, right, we've seen tonight's fight, and I want to get your opinion on it. But as the great heavyweight Samuel Peter once said, who next for AJ? April the 13th, they're talking about. Who's it going to be, Dave?
Well, it depends who wins Wilder versus Fury. And it depends on if they can negotiate that fight again. Because Hearn just got in the ring and talked absolute shit about how they signed the contract and Wilder's team didn't. I mean, we've been over this tons of times. Eddie Hearn's contradicted himself. He's admitted on camera that the $50 million was there, and yet that's been his excuse. I don't really know what he's trying to say here. Maybe he just knows that nobody else was in the ring to contradict him this time in front of however many fans were there on his brand new DAZN stream. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the blame is in the Joshua camp on this one. So if they can negotiate, I imagine it will be easier to negotiate depending on who wins. Obviously, Wilder, Fury. We'll see how it goes. If Wilder becomes lineal heavyweight champion of the world, I think it could be tougher to negotiate. If Fury picks up that WBC belt, I think they'll make that easy enough in the UK. I guess we'll have to see what happens. Definitely next for Povetkin, hopefully his retirement, or maybe he can get put into a coma by Luis Ortiz. I'm happy he got wrecked tonight, and I picked it. And fuck him for using roids for years, and hopefully he goes down in disgrace.
Go on, then give us an insight into the fight.
Fuck out, David.
Give us an insight into the fight, then, Dave. Strategically speaking, you're the technical and tactical expert on here.
No, that's true. Well, he did actually do better than I expected him to do, especially early on. He went for it. He, like Andy said, he shot his best chance was early, and he took it, and he did fairly well. Seemed to break Joshua's nose, definitely had him bleeding, definitely wobbled him. But I think maybe the roids have really done something to his power, because we didn't see him as a big hitter back when he fought Marco Huck. I mean, not compared to what we saw him later when he was icing Takam and smashing that Irish Cuban. I can't remember his name. Perez.
Mike Perez.
Yeah, like when he was getting those really clean, savage knockouts. We didn't see that like back in his younger days when he was clean. And now he's most likely clean again. He trained hard, got some of the fat off of himself. But, the edge wasn't there. And good, because fuck him. Hopefully he has brain damage now.
Oh, come on, Dave. Right.
If anyone deserves it, it's him.
That's a little bit much, don't you think?
Well, he's a known cheater. He's deliberately dealt it out to other guys on the roids. So
he always has to do this, doesn't he?
I guess
that's why we call him hater, isn't it?
He always has to do this.
Okay, fair enough.
Fuck him for having such a stupid nickname as Sasha. That's a girl's name. Cunt.
Right, Dave, I'm putting you on the naughty step. Right, Rob, a couple of questions for you. First one's from Christopher Lomax. Before we get on to that, tell me about the young gentleman who was wrapping AJ into the ring. What was going on there?
Like nines from the ends, bruv. No, I've no shots against that guy. He probably got a few quid tonight off the Matchroom machine. Good for him. Like a bit of exposure, a bit of Spotify dough. All for it. Did look a bit like a fucking Puff Daddy 90s rap video. The ring walk was fucking ridiculous, like, wasn't it? What was that? Like, I was expecting fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin to run up the fucking gangway. Like, it was absolutely atrocious. That was like.
What about AJ's hair, Rob? It had not an afro going on, but it was growing a little bit. Maybe a bit of Jeff Merritt, a bit of Frazier going on there.
Bit of Jay-Z in between albums. Look, no, I say like the fight. Look, I'm gonna be a hater. Fuck it. You're all not hugging AJ too much. Look at that shit. Like, Sash is 38 years of age, off the juice. Come on now. Come on. And he fucking dominated the fight for 5 rounds. He dominated him. He's winning the fucking fight 4 rounds to 1.
Not on the judges' scorecards, he wasn't.
Yeah, of course he wasn't on the judges' scorecards. We said that anyway. They were going to job Klitschko in the last fight, and he should have been up on the cards at the time of the knockout. Credit to the guy who got the knockout, right? But I would have expected him to deal with it, because this is based on the benchmark of he's what they say that he is. He's this great fighter. Look what he's done in 28 fights. He's the most gifted fighter in the sport. Well, if he's the most gifted fighter in the sport, he should be dealing with Povetkin better than that. Come on, for fuck's sake! It takes him 5 rounds to get on the fucking jab. Like, Povetkin didn't have to do anything to get inside him, did he? He didn't have to move his head. AJ was buying the face all night. It wasn't like he was fucking coming in like a prime Mike Tyson or anything. He threw a fucking.
The feints were nice, Rob. The feints were nice.
It was a jab at the end of the first round, a jab, and he followed it up. He had him dead in trouble. Like, it's not going to take much for this guy to get iced. I don't care. But anyway, I will give him credit for tonight for the finish. Absolutely fantastic finish against the geriatric. No, I'm only joking. I will give him credit for the finish. The finish was pretty savage, and he is a good finisher. And if he gets you in trouble, you're gone. But let's not all sit here and say that Povetkin didn't dominate him. Like, Povetkin was working him over. There was no way I couldn't have him 4 rounds to 2. What? Do you know them boys are sleeping on them big beds in the hotels? They've never probably been in hotels that big before when they come over to judge these fights. They go, I'd like to be back here for the Wilder fight. Fuck out of here, 4 rounds to 2. Povetkin was the man tonight. I gave him a lot of credit. Look, he was a drug cheat. And I don't want to have double standards because I slaughtered Canelo over the drug cheat situation. And I was mad at Povetkin for ending Mike Perez's career because he was definitely... He jumped out of the limo that night and he looked like fucking the Hulk. It was like a Marvel movie. He just jumped out of a limo. I was like, holy shit, the size of this guy. Smashed fucking poor Mike Perez to bits on the gear. But that's how much I hate Eddie Hearn, that I was... rooting for a drug cheat to beat the cash cow.
Well, Rob, we do have some inside information, obviously, of someone who's judged a Matchroom fight before. So we'll try and find out if it's the Hilton, if it's en suite, what's going on with these cards.
Oh, I bet you have the big bubble bath and everything. You're there sitting there smoking a cigar tonight going,
Right, Rob, let me ask you this question from Christopher Lomax. He said, Joshua seems very reluctant to throw the right hand. When he lets it go, it's a force. Is that something to work on?
Well, a couple of things about AJ that we said over and over, and all seriousness, it's just had a few jazz tonight, right? But I'm not extra hyped or nothing to hate on AJ. I'm just saying, in all seriousness, like a couple of things, like he is gassy. He's too heavy. 242 pounds of pure muscle, however you get to that, I don't know. But at 242 pounds of pure muscle, it's going to leave you. I think he's reluctant to throw in clusters unless he has somebody hurt. So he waits for the clean shot and then he jumps on him. He got his nose broken tonight. All right, that's going to affect his breathing. But he starts talking in the fight. He's vulnerable. He's gassy. It didn't take, as I said, Povetkin was able to land on him at will, and maybe there's some kind of regression in power since he's off the gear. Like, but a big puncher like Wilder, you'd have to say would be able to find him. Like, and I suppose he'd be able to find Wilder too. So it might be who lands first. But no, I just think like any fighter that can get this guy past 6 rounds will give him trouble. And he looked. That was to me. That was a life and death fight tonight. To me, looking at that, I thought like he was going through hell. He wasn't dominating the fight. He wasn't getting on the jab. He wasn't holding Povetkin. He knows Povetkin's punch is the left hook. He had his right hand high, but he was still getting clocked. Povetkin was stunning him with the right hand over the jab, and he left his left hand down by his knee for most of the fight. So I think he just gets tired. Like, I just think he's too heavy, he's too muscle bound, and he gets tired, and that's what makes him vulnerable. Granted, it makes exciting fights, but I think he's there for the taking against any good heavyweight.
Right, shout out to Max Stoke. He's been in touch on Twitter. Early value of the week, he says, to Dillian White for looking like he had just done a security shift at Asda. That's a pretty good one. Right, let's get you and Ozzy again. Yeah, people can hurt AJ Ozzy. He gasses out a bit, but so far no one has been able to finish him. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, Dillian White hurt him with the left hook. I don't think Takam hurt him. Klitschko definitely hurt him, couldn't finish him. What was the last one he was in? Parker didn't really do much. But the point is, Ozzy, Deontay Wilder, we all know, whenever he gets someone on the hook, he's able to finish them. So that is a red flag for AJ, in my opinion. If Wilder gets him going, like Povetkin did tonight, like White did, like Klitschko did, you'd like to think that he will be able to finish him off.
100%. Absolutely 100%. And that will happen if they're completely different fights. But if Wilder lands a similar amount of punches to what Povetkin does, Joshua will not be standing. I always believe Wilder is the hardest hitting fighter on the planet, and I believe he can knock anybody out. But like I say, it's a completely different fight. You see the guys that, aside from Vlad, he struggles with the smaller guys, Joshua. But obviously at the same time, I don't think he gassed tonight either. I think that's a bit harsh on that. It was a tough fight. I don't think he was gassed.
He didn't do anything for the first 4 rounds.
Compared to when he was in with Klitschko, where he looked absolutely knackered. Yeah. I think it was at the end of round 5 or 6, where he'd knocked Klitschko down and he looked shattered at the end, and the following round as well. Tonight, I don't think that. But yeah, he can be hurt, but at the end of the day, he's getting hit by guys that are 16, 17 stone. So of course he can be hurt. But at the moment, he's doing well to survive. He'll learn from that again. But then going back to Wilder, I see if he gets him in that situation, he'll go all gung-ho like he does. Arms are going round like propellers, etc. And he'll land one of those money shots and it'll be lights out. Absolutely lights out, because whilst Wilder's he's no real technique, he's unorthodox in what he does, but he does it bloody well. Look at the way he finished Ortiz. That was an excellent finish.
We are going to mention the shitty undercard in a little bit. Smido, opinion from you on the next fight. They're talking about Jarrell Miller. It could be someone left field, couldn't it? I mean, surely they wouldn't put him in with Hughie Fury if he beats Kubrat Pulev. Well, I suppose, look who we're talking about. The likes of Trevor Bryan away up there, they couldn't frigging sell him, surely. What do you think, Smido? I don't think it's going to be Wilder Fury winner next. So is it going to be a Miller? Is it going to be Dillian White if he gets past Chisora? Is it going to be Chisora if he gets past White? What's the cracks, Miller?
Steve, you've missed someone off there who's been unlucky, not to get his well deserved and well earned title shot, Frezi Quendo.
Team Frez.
He's been in the queue long enough. He needs to now get served at the front of the queue. No, I mean, we've called it months and months ago, didn't we, Dillian White? Everyone, AJ's been saying it for longer than most. Eddie's on there and Sky are on that train as well. So looks like it's going to be Dillian White. Me and Oz were just discussing actually before we started. I just wonder with I think the Chisora and White fight has got to go ahead because it goes pretty close to Wilder and Fury, i.e. December. So, yeah, I think if White comes through that, and it is an if, then he's probably in the driving seat for April the 13th. I think that the fact that Joshua signed up to his next 2 fights at Wembley is just another nail in the coffin of the Wilder and Joshua fight happening. So that was another sign that for whatever reason that's not really in the plan. I still maintain that the Wilder fight should be happening and is more likely to happen in America. Well, they've already agreed Joshua's next fight is not in America; it's at Wembley next April. So I can't see much coming from left field. There's no real mandatories out there. I think Jarrell Miller is an American fight for AJ, an American debut for AJ. I thought that for a long time. I actually thought it would have happened by now, and it's not. Vetkin's obviously out the way. I think if Fury is to beat Wilder, and that is a massive if from what we've seen from Fury in his last 2 fights, if he is to beat Wilder, then Fury would absolutely get in the ring in April with Joshua, and that's his pensions boxed off in under 5 months. He'll have earned millions and millions, and that'll be the end of Tyson Fury in terms of his bank balance. So yeah, all roads lead to Dillian White, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know who it was mentioned it earlier. It might have been Rob or Andy, but we've got major problems, I think. If Wilder beats Fury, he's then obviously, what is it? He's saying he's lineal champ or whatever to go with the WBC title. Then you're going to have this stalemate again, aren't you? You're going to have AJ saying, well, I've got so many belts, 4 belts or whatever it is. I'm selling out Wembley Stadium. We're going to be back to square one, Dave, with the negotiations.
Well, Wilder will be lineal champ if he does that, and I think he will be in a much more strong position. So if I were him and I were able to knock out Tyson Fury, I would just sit back and say, yeah, fuck you, come over here, bitch. Especially after what he did in the first fight. It definitely makes it tougher as far as negotiation goes. They're going to both be very powerful at that point. And I would imagine we see at least one fight for both in between any matchup made between the two.
And can I just add to that, right? Eddie's in the ring afterwards. And as you mentioned, he's blaming Wilder's camp for not making that fight. But he said, AJ will fight anybody on the planet. He's fought Dominic Breazeale. He's fought Klitschko. He's fought Povetkin. He'll fight his mandatories. Now, Pat, Eddie's a great businessman, right? What's a really strong part of business? Risk management. If you're sitting ringside tonight and you're seeing all ass Povetkin giving AJ those, you think Wilder's next when they're selling out Wembley? No fucking chance. There's going to be, and imagine Derek Chisora beats Dillian White. You're going to have Derek Chisora versus AJ in April. Guarantee it.
Especially when he's coming in looking like that. Like a Wilder would have smashed him tonight, I think.
Well, Eddie goes on about great excitement,
Absolutely.
and all that. Great excitement, and look at the excitement he's bringing. I'll tell you what, Eddie can say that afterwards. I'm sure there was a little flipping skid mark in the old expensive suit after about round 2 or 3 there tonight, Ozzy. You there, Ozzy?
Yeah, sorry, I missed that then. I was going to say about the Fury, the Wilder Joshua situation. Should Wilder go and beat Fury? I don't think there's any hesitation in him travelling or anything like that whatsoever. I just think his demands will go slightly up. I think they're openly saying, Finkel and Wilder, if you give us what we're worth, and I don't think they will overvalue themselves, that they'll happily travel. I think it's the little things like no rematch clause, which was put in the last one, which they openly spoke about. Well, should Wilder lose his title, then of course he's entitled to a rematch clause, or at least the opportunity to. He can always turn against that. But it's a case of if it worked the other way around and Joshua would lose, he's entitled to a rematch straight away. That was one of the clauses. I think if they're fair in the negotiations, I don't think we have a problem in seeing this fight. From what we've heard from all the interviews from Wilder's side, I think they're okay. I think they're. I think they, of course, they know what they're worth. They're going to overvalue themselves, but at the end of the day, they're in with Anthony Joshua, who is arguably one of the biggest moneymakers in the sport. So of course they're going to get more. I mean, what did Joseph Parker get? About 14 million quid or something like that. Yeah. Well, Deontay Wilder's a much bigger name than him, so he at least deserves what? 24 million quid.
Wow, did Parker get that much, really?
I was waiting to say, that's a fucking huge amount of dosh he just walked away with.
How much did they pay Charles Martin? He got 5 million, didn't he?
3.5. He got 3.5, I think.
But Femi never made much. He was probably making sponsorship money for that fight. Yeah. They had to take the short end of that fight to get that title.
Charles Martin got paid that much. He had to take the next couple of years off.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's apparently there's Ben Davison apparently confirming that Fury Wilder's got a rematch clause.
Well,
Fury Wilder's
what I
what?
say about Parker, my dad's mates with. Sorry, man.
Go on, Rob. You're all right. Go on.
We're still mates. What I was going to say is my dad's mates with Parker's manager's granddad. They meet each other or whatever during the week. And your man's an ex-pro boxer, like ex heavyweight. Like, I forget his name, a UK heavyweight. But he said that off the back of the money that Parker made off of 5 years or something, where he made more money than he made in the fight. So Parker set up for life for being an average Joe, pun intended.
I think that showed in the Dillian White fight as well. I think he came into that fight knowing
Appetite
that
was
basically,
gone.
at the end of the day, I'm sat on millions of pounds here. What am I doing? And he'd have got paid another fortune for fighting Dillian White as well. So, I mean, he's set for life, and that's what it is. That's what it is now. And I think we will see Wilder, but in the instance that if there is a rematch clause and Fury does beat Wilder, then I don't think there's a chance we're going to see that fight. But Finkel did say that he's willing to meet with Matchroom again as long as they put a formal and realistic offer forward. So, in my opinion, the ball is there in Matchroom's court. You go and make an offer. Offers are there to be negotiated, but don't make unrealistic offers. I think last time they always bang on about venues and dates. They sent a contract with no venue and no date. Well, what moron's going to sign that contract?
Frank Warren?
Absolutely nobody.
My question is, right, they're going to say there's no negotiations with Wilder because he's concentrating on his Fury fight. Then he's having Christmas. Then we've only got a month or so to sign it. And there's no chance he fights Wilder in April. No chance at all. My question to the my question is, right, let's assume Wilder beats Fury in December. Who's got the better resume, Wilder or AJ at that point?
Wilder would have at that point.
Question, though, isn't it?
I think
Wilder
it's
off 2 fights, or AJ off 4 or 5 decent fights.
You know, it could be AJ because we don't know what Fury is. But I tell you what, I said that before. That's the most intriguing fight out there because we don't know what's going to happen. Like Fury, on form, looks like he's going to get smashed by Wilder, but he's proved everyone wrong before. Like everyone says, Fury's the man now, but when he was uppercutting himself in the face and when he arguably lost to McDermott, everyone was saying he was trash and he was never going to, and he was getting dropped by Steve Cunningham. People were saying he was trash. And he never, Pegovic or whatever, he'd never win a world title. But he did it, like he went over and beat the man. So is he capable of outboxing Wilder for 12 rounds? I don't know. On form, it looks like not. Like it looks like it's going to be Wilder AJ. But if Fury wins, man, we're going to get some fights. Because how can AJ avoid it? Like, he can easily avoid Wilder because of the whole situation. Eddie's created this fake animosity between Shelley Finkel, real animosity rather, to make the fight not happen. Like, he's in there tonight. There's no fucking way that fight's happening. He's already said tonight, I don't know if Wilder and Fury is even going to happen. They haven't got a venue, so how can they sign the contract? Why is he saying that after... Why is he saying that? Because he's framing the narrative. You see them all following the narrative. You have Frotz this week saying about Amir Khan has to fight. They're all pulling the same strings, like they're all singing off the same hymn book, and Hearn doesn't want that fight next. No way. If it's Wilder and he thinks that Wilder's going to beat Fury, there's no way he wants that fight next. But if Fury wins, he puts his foot on the neck of AJ, like, because they have to make that fight.
Well, Smido, let me ask you this, Smido. On the subject of Fury against Wilder, right? The fact that they announced the fight weeks ago and nothing's happened since, does that suggest to you possibly that maybe Shelley Finkel isn't as easy to deal with as has been suggested, or is it because of other reasons, Smido, that it hasn't been confirmed yet?
I think they've struggled to get a venue, haven't they? And then Mayweather chucked a spanner in the works. But as I know it's boring, right? But delivery and expectation. The expectation from Frank was it'll be done in the next 72 hours. He said when they stood in the ring in Belfast, and then the delivery is 6 weeks. If they'd have just said in that ring, we're working hard on it, it's a great fight. We'll try and get a deal done for the fans, no problem. But he said the fucking fight's on, the deal's done. He's got the posters printed, and they can't even decide what fucking state the fight is going to be in. It looks like it's going to be in LA now.
Yeah, Staples.
Was that bogus yesterday when they announced that it was going to be on Showtime in December?
No, it's correct.
No, it looks correct to me.
I think it's December the 1st they've gone with, and Al Heyman's team sent a press release out last night. So I've no doubt that's going to go ahead.
Yeah, that's done then.
What they always referred to, though, is that Frank was going, well, the two guys have confirmed it. But I could agree to fight Steve, but I'd want home advantage, but so would he. So there's all those details to thrash out. It's a case of, right, yeah, well, I'll fight you, but we need to agree money,
Who's
date.
the A side in that one?
I'll probably go with Wellings. He's award-winning.
Award-winning Steve Wellings might be the A side. You might have to come to Belfast.
Yeah, well, Oz has got the big sponsorship contracts with the clothing and that.
Right, Andy, let's bring you in. They're talking about the 1st of December for Wilder Fury. I don't want to go too far off track, but we were talking about this in the chat, weren't we? Gvozdyk, Stevenson's the same night, so whether they're going to go split site pay-per-view, we don't know. But assuming the winner of Wilder Fury is set up to fight Joshua next year, just take on board all the points we've made there. I mean, is it even going to happen? Is it going to be Dillian White? It's not going to happen next, the winner of Fury Wilder fighting AJ, is it?
I don't think so. There's some comments floating around here. I don't know how true they are, but Ben Davison's basically apparently claiming that there's a rematch clause for this Fury Wilder fight. But again, we're still waiting to find out about.
Take it with a pinch of salt, dude.
Yeah,
to be honest.
exactly. So we just need to wait and see. But I'm going to try and take it as I'm trying to take some positivity and think that fight's made. But I think we've all believed. Even the Hearns didn't want this fight next. They're fucking at it. I mean, they're trying to, they've got Wembley Stadium booked twice, okay? They are trying to milk even some more out of Joshua. I think, at the same point as well, as the way he's talking, I think he's getting kind of fed up at it as well, actually. It's great to make a lot of money, but at the same time, it's a lot. He's mentioned about Parker and that there. That guy's a walking billboard. He's making millions and millions of pounds. At what point does it become enough? At what point do you say, listen, I can't keep doing this. I've not got the motivation anymore. I could just want to kind of lie in my bed rather than go for a fucking 5-mile jog or whatever. You just don't know. But I think it's going to be Dillian White next. After that, I don't know. I really believe we might see the fight between Fury and the Wilder winner fighting Joshua probably later on next year. Again, I really don't know. The talks are going to drag on again. It's going to take many months. It's going to take to and fro. You just need to kind of sit down. If it takes 18 hours, get it thrashed out. But who knows? We know where we're going to be this time next year anyway. It's going to be fucking sitting waiting for this fight to be announced and that. It's going to be arguments about splits and who gets to walk to the ring second and where the fight gets held, and it's just going to be AIDS. So there's no other fights in the division that matter at the minute apart from those three names: Fury, Wilder, and Joshua. That's the only three names that matter in the division at the minute. There's nothing else coming up behind there. Fury against Pulev is probably the next mandatory at some point. They fight sometime or plan to fight. Other than that, there's nothing else in that division to look forward to.
And are you sleeping on Sergei Kuzmin?
Well, he's a poorer man's version of fucking Povetkin. He's not got the dig. And are we going to mention that fight?
Go ahead, man. Tell me about Big Pricey. You know what I'm thinking, Andy? Pricey had him going in the third round. I think he was about to stop him. Maybe let's get the big guy another opportunity.
Oh, he's proved that he deserves a world title fight, mate. He's one punch away for the glory land. Until he quit in the corner.
He's worked so very hard to reach this point in his career.
Adam Smith. So what do you say? I mean, at one point he was letting his hands go. It was at the third round, I think it was, about a shootout, and then it was like, I'm fucked. I need to quit. I need to fucking bail out. And okay, maybe his bicep did go and stuff, but he didn't look like he was in great nick whatsoever. Shamo and Hearn, for example. What's happened here actually? The Russians have come up. I need a fighter for my heavyweight. I want him on the card, and then they've come up with fucking Price. They've never heavyweight take that fight in short notice. Nobody else that I can think of that Hearn's got on his roster, maybe apart from Dave White. But even then, nobody would buy that shit. Or they did probably, but
the people around Pricey need to have a word now, like, don't they? Like, what are they wheeling him out for? Like, you're putting the guy in danger. We've seen how a percentage of what though? For fuck's sake, like, is the guy's going to be hurt badly? Like, if he can't campaign at the top level, like, you're going to keep rolling him out on these undercards to lose fights. Like, the Povetkin knockout was brutal, like, and that's not the first brutal knockout. Like, why do you want to see guys get 6, 7, 8 brutal knockouts? Like, he hasn't got it. Get him out of there. Like, get him out of there.
Sorry, Rob, I was in the chat there. Right, Dave, tell me about the undercard. We're not going to be going all night, maybe another 10, 15 minutes or whatever. If anybody wants to come on, I noticed in the chat there, Night on the Tiles wasn't happy about a few things we were saying. Absolutely fine. If you want to come on and put your point of view across, you're more than welcome to join us. you can talk to Dave the Hater Lowback. I know that's a lifelong dream for many of our female listeners. Dave, Kuzmin against Price, Luke Campbell, if a functional performance again against Ivan Mendy in the rematch. And, well, what do you say about asking a Coley? Overall rating of the undercard, Dave?
Well, I didn't even watch the first two. I watched Mendy, Campbell, which was, I mean, it was a decent adjustment from Campbell from the first fight, but it was not that impressive of a performance, really. I mean, he didn't land much. I don't think Lomachenko is lying awake at night now, saying, "Oh boy, Luke Campbell's coming for my belt." It was a good adjustment, and he frustrated Mendy, but he did not damage him. He barely landed a clean punch, but it wasn't that kind of fight. I would say this card really reminded me why I don't bother watching Matchroom cards generally. It was trash. And could they have drawn it out any longer before that main event? I mean, the rapper, the music, the introductions, the hype videos. This is not just a problem with Matchroom, by the way, but I mean, this is a problem in the UFC. This is a problem with HBO, Showtime. They try to sell you the fucking fight, like while you're actually watching the card. They're trying to sell you. I don't understand why are they promoting stuff that you're already watching? It's just irritating, and just get the fucking show on the road. It was annoying. The main event sort of made up for it in that it was a little bit more competitive than I expected it to be, and the finish was pretty stylish and fun to watch. So there's that. But for the most part, I'm not impressed with tonight's card, including the main event.
Yeah, a few people weren't too happy with the Enzo Calzaghe tribute. I think it should have been made a lot later in the evening, and then a few more people could have, paid their respects. They made it quite early.
That was completely disrespectful. That utter piss take. They did this tribute and made a big deal of it when I think it was just after the Price or just before the Price fight. There must have been about 80 people in the stadium, and basically the 80 people in there probably didn't have a clue who he was as well. Considering they made such a big deal of it and who Enzo Calzaghe is in the sport, that should have been done when they were all there singing Sweet Caroline and stuff like that. Give him a send-off that he deserves in front of 80,000 people, not in front of 80 people, when probably all of them don't have a clue who they are. I thought it was harsh. I thought it was out of order, that. But there's times and ways, all for a tribute, excellent, but do it at the right time of the card, not early on when no one's there. No one's probably really watching either, on the TV side as well.
Yeah. Ozzy, the less said, the better, obviously, about Matty asking a Coley's fight. But tell me about Campbell Mendy. We were talking about this earlier.
That shit face.
What's the situation with Campbell now, Ozzy? Is he going to fight an eliminator with someone like Richard Comey, we believe? That's going to be a difficult one.
Oh, well, that was the final eliminator now for the WBC title, which Mikey Garcia holds.
Oh, he might vacate then? Is that what we're expecting?
Yes, exactly.
That's what he wants.
Yeah. So Eddie Hearn even said it. We think Garcia's going to vacate, so Campbell is going to box for a vacant title.
We hope.
Number 3 in the rankings is Richard Comey. Now, that guy is never going to turn a fight down.
I fancy Comey, actually.
I will take Comey in that fight as well, because me and Smid were talking about it during the fight. Campbell's really susceptible just to a straight right. And he was getting tagged, and I've got to admit, I mean, I was watching the Campbell fight. I thought it was a bit closer at first because, I mean, I was watching it on and off, but it was a much more assured performance compared to what it was in the first fight. And that was a decent win. Mendy's shown what he could do before he beat Campbell. And then from there, I think he is going to box for a vacant title. So if it's a case of it's going to be against Comey, then so be it. I think it's a decent fight, that as well. So I'll look forward to that one. Should it get made, but we never know. We'll have to wait and see. I think we need to. I mean, why do we think Garcia's vacating? Is he going up in weight again? Or is
are they saying that off the back, Andy, of going up to fight Spence, which looks like it's not going to happen anyway now, is it?
It was.
There was talk of that happening in the Spence fight, but I remember who was his last fight against? Wasn't it Broner? It was Easter, and there was talk about him coming back. They was talking about him staying there and trying to unify a division. Was it not?
Do you know what it is, Andy? I don't think Garcia is in the sport now for mandatories and shit
No,
like that.
he's
He's
super
probably
money.
saying, you know what, I'm not interested in Luke Campbell. I want the big fights, the big money fights. I'm happy to hop up and down the weights. If it means drop the WBC and go up and fight someone for more money, he don't want to be sitting and fighting the likes of Campbell. Would it be a case of that?
Oh, without doubt, as you say, I mean, what is Garcia's, what, 30, 31 now? He's 2 years, he's prime gone.
Yeah.
He's obviously making up for lost time. It's all about the Benjamins now. Okay, he's doing it by picking up trinkets, calling himself 3-4 weight champ, whatever it is and stuff. But you know, outside is like you say Pacquiao and Crawford, that which was probably never going to happen. You know, Spence is the fight; it can be made in house. Sean Porter's there. I dare say he wouldn't take that fight though. But you want him to stay at lightweight. I don't want to see him kind of go up in weight and stuff like that unless he's absolutely ready for it. I want to see Lomachenko. I want to see Pedraza and all that type of fighters and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, I think Garcia Lomachenko is every fight fan's dream fight now out of the fights that could get made. Because whatever you say about Garcia, he's one of the most naturally talented guys in the sport. Like, absolutely unbelievable talent. But I think to him, he really don't want that Lomachenko fight. Like, because Lomachenko's proved in the past he's easy to deal with if you want to get a fight made. Like, and I think he's looking for this Spence one because there's no shame in losing to Spence. He's an absolute beast at welterweight. Like, but I think that's just a payday he's chasing. Is right. Like, I think, like, why not make, if you want to be great, like, what, call Lomachenko out, like, now. You know what I mean?
Campbell was talking about the title becoming vacant anyway. He was talking about 2-3 weeks ago and stuff. So it was obviously hanging off. As you guys say, Richard Commey's not an easy fight for anybody.
Ozzy, they're having a go at you in the chat. One thing I always love, we always get this in the comments or the chat or the Twitter or whatever. Brian King used to be bad for this. The pod said this, the pod said that. You know, there's about fucking 10 of us on the pod, isn't there? The pod as a collective said this, but I know one person who did say it, Ozzy, that Askin was going to win. They're jumping in with the humble pie. Ozzy, are you ready to consume?
How can you humble pie that shit? Come on.
I heard it was some of the worst ocular aids ever seen.
Mate, listen, I wanted to put my finger into my eyeballs, into my brain, and swirl it around, pull it back out, and stick it into my fucking ears. It was that bad. Oh my God, that was awful.
It was awful.
I mean, it was fucking age. I mean, listen, sorry, Ozzy, I'll bring in the room, mate, but listen, I have seen Corey Spinks, I have seen John Ruiz, I have seen Sven Otka fight. That was, these guys put on master classes compared to that fucking pish. A.C. Smith against Carlos Molina, world class fight of the year compared to that fucking shit. Chris Bird, Darvell Williamson, remember that pish? Bradley Alexander, Bellew Chilemba and Cleverly, Rigondo Agbeko. Holy fuck, that was AIDS.
It was probably one of the worst fights I've ever seen. It was absolutely awful. There was nothing to it. There was no skill. There was nothing. But Okoli should have been chucked out. I don't see how you can. I mean, I've never seen a fight before where 3 points have been taken off for the same thing and the guy's not been thrown out for it. I mean, yeah, I predicted Askin would win, but at the same time, I never thought Okoli would just essentially smother, lean, use his shoulders, hold, clinch, everything. It was some horrendous spoiling. And, I mean, at the end of the day, Lawrence Okoli, he won tonight and he won a British title. An excellent achievement. He won it on a great stage, but he left the arena being booed. Now, there's a reason for that, and it's because he made the fight absolutely horrendous. And when your own promoter is sat ringside and saying, "I'd be taking points off of Lawrence if I was the referee," that says something else. That really says something else.
I think, Ozzy, that it was the limit. I don't think he should have been thrown out, but I think 3 points was the absolute limit. Victor Loughlin I don't think was going to throw him out on that stage, you know, and give him the L on the Anthony Joshua undercard, second fight from the main event. Loughlin would have been under a lot of pressure, I think, and the 3 points was the absolute limit. I think another major incident or indiscretion from Okoli, and it was justified, but I think he was on the verge, but not quite.
Yeah, it was a poor fight, very, very, very poor, and one that I would only recommend if you had insomnia or something like that, you just wanted to fall asleep or something because it was horrendous. There was no skill to it. It was shit. It was just, I can't even describe it. I mean, it says it all even when the Sky guys were saying it was awful. And they can big up absolutely anything. It was a poor fight and one that I never want to see ever again.
got to say, Okolie is only on that card because he's signed with Joshua, right? And that's twice he's now been showcased on Sky shows, prominent Sky shows. He's even headlined a show, for fuck's sake, and he's delivered that twice. He cannot ever be on our TV screens ever again.
He's going to struggle. I think he'll struggle now. Or for the clamber to watch him, because, like you say, he's had two big opportunities now. One against Chamberlain, one against Ashkin. He's got 2 wins, but in that, I can't remember anything exciting about either of the 2 fights. Well, I can actually. The final bell.
Rob, are you Darth Vader breathing?
Yeah, that's me, baby. Because I wanted to say on Sky tonight, how fucking bad was Gonzo? Like, he was absolutely atrocious. He knows nothing. Like, what is he talking about? He's better off watching his brother fighting in Nottingham last night. Forget about it. He's in the fucking. He's on the commentary going, Povetkin. He's experienced. He knows what he's doing. Does he? The fucking Olympic champion knows what he's doing, fighting in a world title fight after fucking at 38 years of age. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, fucking asshole. Get off the fucking television. I'm not a fighter of these. I'm not a fan of these fighters that get plastic surgery after they're retired to try and boost their looks, like him and Oscar. Need to lay off the surgeons, like. And his scorecard.
58-56 for Joshua.
What fight was he watching? What fight was he watching? Absolutely atrocious. Get off the telly, you company man. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the British Hair Clinic, by the way. Talking of plastic surgery.
Props to them guys. Ward beat him with one hand. Never forget that when you're ringing off your 80,000 at Wembley. Remember that Ward beats you with one hand. Easy work, baby.
Right, we're going to start wrapping up in a minute, final thoughts and stuff. I know, Andy, you want to say something before we do. Dippo Osho has been in touch on the Facebook page. I'm reading this raw, I haven't read it out before, so let's have a look what he's saying about tonight's action. Not that it matters, says Dippo, but how the fuck did the judges have AJ winning that fight? Corruption in boxing just continues to stink though through to the core, so no one wants the AJ train derailed. He lost 5 out of 6 rounds on my card before the 7th, says Dippo. I find myself genuinely wondering what the point is in watching certain fighters fight. I'm shocked how widely accepted it is in boxing that you can't get a decision against certain fighters. Does the panel think there is any point whatsoever in Billy Joe or Danny Jacobs fighting? Oh, we'll talk about that another day. That's about Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. Right, let's start wrapping up then, guys. Andy, let's go to you first. Overriding thoughts from the night and whatever takes your fancy.
Main event was okay. Good ending. The rest of the card was absolutely fucking awful. I mean, I can't speak low enough as to how shit that cruiserweight fight was, and it just really turned me off for that Campbell Mendy fight. It fucking really did. That was just fucking awful. I was really into the Povetkin fight because he looked like he was going to be really in the fight first 4 rounds, but then he had his chance, and then that was it. So, max out of 10, I'll give it a 5. I'll give it a 4 actually, because I'll give it a 5 because I like that guy, what do you call him, Gayazov, but he needs to tighten up the defence a wee bit, that boy.
Yeah, maybe the next few loosen off. Right, okay, Andy's scores are flopping up and down, Dave, like Povetkin's head movement. What about you? Overriding thoughts from the evening?
I think it says a lot, and Rob mentioned this earlier when talking about Povetkin. It says a lot that we hate Matchroom and the Joshua hype, not necessarily even Joshua himself, but the hype, the bullshit. We hate it so much. We were rooting for a drug cheat. Not all of us. I mean, I was rooting against him, but then I wasn't really rooting for Joshua either. I'm happy the guy got smashed.
Name them, Dave. Who was these people who was rooting for him?
Gabe.
Don't do a George Pete on us just to fucking name the names.
Well, I mean, I mean, I can see where some of them were coming from too. It's not like it's completely shaming the people who were rooting for Povetkin, because I mean, for all we know, Josh was probably a drug cheat himself. But that's
80 pounds of muscle, baby. 80 pounds of muscle cleaning.
I mean, weren't you rooting for Povetkin too?
I say that Joshua was going to knock him out. I thought it would have been late.
Well, yeah, I mean, we both picked him, but I mean, you might have been rooting for him.
The thing is, you want to see him tested. This is the thing, though. You've got this guy. Oh, he's only had 22 fights. Who gives a fuck? You've got Eddie Hearn saying he's the greatest thing. You got Barry saying he's this, that, the next thing. Larry Holmes jab, all this fucking type of shit and stuff like that. If you're number one, you got to expect to fight the best, because guess what? You are the man. You're the target. They all want to fight you. They all wanted to fight Floyd. They all wanted to fight Oscar. They all wanted to fight Ali. They all wanted to fight the best. So you are now number one. You got to step up.
arse. Imagine what Larry Holmes would have done with Povetkin. Give me a fucking break. And that's what drives me mad as well. The PR machine is in full effect. He gets on the microphone tonight. He starts talking about even Sugar Ray Robinson lost. Shut the don't mention your name as Sugar Ray Robinson in the same sentence, you fucking imposter, you. Lost, yeah, all right, man. And he had a fucking winning streak that fucking quadruples your career wins. Like, don't be talking about Sugar Ray Robinson. Like,
I wouldn't get too upset.
Fighting our mandatories.
I wouldn't get too concerned about Joshua because I think his L is coming one way or another. It's gonna come against. If it doesn't come against Fury or Wilder, it's gonna come against somebody that you don't expect because he's got too many holes in his game and he's got some physical weaknesses as well. I mean, that loss is coming if he keeps fighting.
Rob, would you pass a VADA test tonight? Rob.
No comment on that, Steve. I live in Wexford, so I had some Mexican tacos.
Come on then, Rob. Give us your score for tonight out of 10 and wrap up and stuff.
Even though the undercard was but like AJ, I said earlier, we're judging him on the benchmark that they Adam Smith can't stop talking about. He's comparing him to Muhammad Ali. He wears Ali's ring fucking garments coming into the ring. He's setting the benchmark high. He has a fucking thing like Sonic the Hedgehog tonight, lowering him into the fucking ring walk, right? He's setting the benchmark high. That was the worst ring walk since Hamid did the flying carpet, by the way. But anyway, he's setting the benchmark high. He's a good fighter. Like, he's not a great fighter. He's not like Larry Holmes. Don't mention him and Larry Holmes in the same sentence. Larry Holmes was a killer. Like, AJ is vulnerable, and I think a good heavyweight beats him. But credit to him for the win. Good performance in terms of the finish. He's a good finisher, but he showed again tonight. He's gassing. He's talking during it. Wilder, I think, is the favourite if them two meet.
Rob's talking entrances, Aussie. He's forgetting maybe Jorge Arce coming in on the top of a horse. But anyway, tell me your overriding feelings, thoughts, and wrap it up with a score.
I've got to say, on paper, I thought the fights of Campbell, Mendy, Okoli, and Askin were going to produce a lot better than they actually did. That's saying they didn't. We've seen it all before where poor fights have produced the goods. So I think the main event did save it because we saw what was definitely competitive up until the stoppage. So I'll probably give it 4, 5 out of 10. Bit disappointed, like I say, in some of them, and I was quite enjoying the Price fight until he randomly pulled out with that bicep injury. But it gives him another payday as well. Someone just sent me a picture saying that Price is willing to travel to Russia to fight Kuzmin again. So the Price train rolls on to Russia.
The Price is right. Adam Smith's been getting a bit of grief tonight. The only Smith I recognise is you, Smith. What's happening tonight then? I'm
going to give it a 5. I thought AJ was below par, but got through the choppy waters and got the good job done. The finish was the best part of the night. Agree with Ozzy, really. I wasn't too down on the card beforehand, although I do question when it's being propped up by fighters that Matchroom don't promote, like David Price, and the lack of world title fight on the card. Gone are the days where AJ used to own the card and AJ wanted to deliver for the fans, and it wasn't just about AJ. Everyone was on this journey with him, and we had Jamie McDonnell or Cal Yafai defending trinkets on there. None of that tonight. And the biggest twat of the night award goes to Tony Bellew, who pissed me off yet again by cheerleading AJ from the front row throughout the fight, barking instructions wherever he could. He's got a good trainer, Mr. Joshua. He doesn't need you to be shouting at him, Bellew, you prick.
Yeah, well said. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Sorry, lads, to jump in. Spino, can I just add to that? I wanted to ask you a question. Were you wearing your shorts as well, or was it just us?
Well, I've got me Adidas shorts on. I've got football socks on.
Come on, the lads. I'm only jealous, man. I was wanting to be there as well.
Any pay-per-view, you're welcome to come round. Ozzy hasn't paid me yet, actually.
There you go.
I'm on the way out doing a frank.
But by the time I get to England, By the time I get to England, my stream will just be finishing anyway.
We were saying that earlier. Thanks, Rob Kelly. Good to have Rob on the call. Also, Ozzy, Smido, Gabe was here. We had Andy. We also had Dave the Hater Lowback. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10, I think. A poor undercard, but no criticism when it's decent on paper beforehand. Undoubtedly, though, everybody, they were there for AJ. And on the evening, Matchroom shut down many of the streams to ensure more pay-per-views were consumed. The AJ train rolls on. Will it be Wilder next? Will it be Fury, Dillian White? Who knows? For all of his deficiencies, Joshua is literally box office and passed another test tonight. Can they find the pens? Can they sign the contracts? Hopefully so. The fights that will define the heavyweight generation will be made. Speak to you all tomorrow night. Steve Wellings, over and out.
Well in, Steve.